Coach's Corner here at McDonald's. If you're at McDonald's and you're looking for us, we're not there. We're recording on Tuesday night due to a scheduling conflict with me, so I appreciate the coaches making an adjustment for me midweek. And so we're going to talk about the same great sport, just on a different night. Next Wednesday, we'll be right back here at McDonald's at 7 o'clock. Come out and join us, or tune in to 97.9 WSLM and hear about the games from this coming Friday and then the following Friday, who the teams have for a matchup. Just want to welcome into the show Coach R.J. Hartsfield, Salem Lions. It feels good to be coming into Coach's Corner after week one with a dub, doesn't it, Coach?
It's always better than coming in after a loss, I promise you that. We had a good night. It was a great team win. Played great defense. When you play great defense, you can play, we feel like we can play with anybody. So I feel like if our defense continues to improve and continues to play like we know they can play.
Now, I know when you prepare for a team and you watch some film, you have in your mind how the game's going to go. Did the game Friday night kind of play out like you anticipated?
I mean, we won, so yeah. I think that when you prepare for North Harrison, you've got to really prepare for somebody that's going to really just going to run the football off tackle. And it's kind of one of those things where you can have a great plan, but if they line up and they hit you hard and you're going to hit them, then it's a long night. And I've been on both sides of it. I felt like we had a great plan this time. We really tried to keep it simple for our kids, and we were able to get into some substitution packages that allowed us to get some kids like Danny Bowling in, and Danny being able to play an outside linebacker, but we kind of got him up in the box, and we removed a safety or a corner out of that situation because they're such a run-heavy team. I just think I felt like our staff did a good job. Coach Thompson did a good job of figuring out, when we needed to be in, what we needed to be in defensively. And we got our kids coached up. Our kids watched a ton of film. I told you that last week. I told you they were ready, and I told you we were going to run the football. We did all those things. So I hope that if I can, whatever I tell you this week, I hope goes as well as that did.
What impressed me, Coach, from what I've seen for the game so far, is just the way you flew to the football. I mean, if there were times when we had 4 or 5 players, not just around the ball, but on the ball carrier.
Yeah, I mean, the style, like I said, that they play is they don't really care if you hit them at the line of scrimmage. They're going to put 2 or 3 extra bodies through there, and so you've got to have some guys that are real selfless in the fact that they're willing to step in there and probably get ran over. I mean that, and you look at some of the pictures that were taken. You'll see one dude on the bottom of the pile. You'll see 3 dudes wrapped up, and you'll see a guy coming over the top. I mean, it's just you had to get bodies to the point of attack, and the biggest thing about it was trying to be sound in their play action game. They're not great. They know they don't want to throw the ball. We knew they didn't want to throw the ball. But in years past, they've been able to catch us and get a cheap, 7. And in a game, the way the game kind of played out, this was the score was not necessarily as close as what it was. They're a team that's going to make you you're going to get 6, 7 possessions max. If you don't score, you're in trouble. So, 21 points. Let's say you got 6 possessions. Let's say you score on 50% of them and you got 21 points. That's a pretty high scoring game when you play these guys. They were big and physical like they always are. But we were able to we took the ball. We received the kickoff. We drove down, and it was a great drive, and we drove down inside the 20, and just one of their kids made a huge play. He flew in and kind of punched the mesh, and the ball flew out, and they recovered it. Well, then they go on about a 12-play drive and march it down and score. And so now we're sitting 7-0, and knowing that we just had a great drive started, we didn't finish it. So I think the biggest part about is we've got a lot of experience. We've got a lot of seniors in positions that we know are crucial, and those guys played that way. And when you get seniors that play like seniors, you're normally in good shape. So we after the first drive, we drove down 3 more times inside of. We drove down 3 more times and scored. It was 14-7 going into half, so we scored 2 more times prior to the half. But it was all, even the first drive was a good drive, and then. Then we come out of halftime, they got the ball, we stuff them, we get the ball back, go down and score. Then we get the ball back, or then they get the ball back, and then we stuffed them again, went down and scored. So we were up 28-7, 27-7, whatever it ended up being. And then their last offensive possession prior to their last score, we stuffed them. They punted it, and we muffed the punt. They scooped it up inside the 20, and then they're that type of team. I mean, you give them the ball inside the 20, and you better hope that everything goes perfectly. And it didn't. They got in the end zone there, and our kids didn't panic. We knew coming out of that we got the ball back one more time, and I looked at our fullback and I said, Price, we got to go. We got to have 3 first downs. There's 3 minutes, 30 seconds left, 3:32 on the clock. I remember looking at it and saying, we got to have 3 first downs here, and this game's over. And knowing that likely two first downs may have made it over, but 3 sealed the deal. And so we went out and we handed it to him 6 straight times, and he took us down the field and got 3 first downs, and and the game was over.
You hear a lot about that 4-minute offense in football. You got to be able to run out the clock.
You got to be able to do both. I mean, you got to be able to score quickly. So you got to have a 2-minute game, and then you also got to have, you're up. Don't get me wrong. Would we have tried if we popped the touchdown and scored there? No, we wouldn't have. But you've got to be able to understand that North Harrison's a team that you don't want to keep giving the ball back to them because it's just brutal. I mean, our kids. And I talked to their coach the next morning, and he's like, it was physical. He's like, you guys got after us, and I said, Coach, we got some sore kids. I mean, our kids were real sore after the ball game, and that's the way football's supposed to feel. And that's what I told them after the game. I said, the way you feel right now is the way you feel every game.
Right. Who played well for you, Coach, on Friday night?
Well, Price had 150. On the ground he scored. We had Reese had 2 touchdowns receiving. You've got Shane had a couple long catches. Just our offensive line. I mean, I told you before the game. I told you last week that we were going to run the football, and it was. We only threw the ball 6 times, so that tells you what we did. I mean, it was, midline veer, over and over, and I bet we ran each of them 25 plus times, and got some good quarterback play, got some good fullback play, got some good slot play, and got some, we had a receiver catch a fade, for a touchdown. That was, right after a big play that he had, Karen. He really, made a huge catch. It was back in the end zone, quick fade, and it was a heck of a catch and a heck of a throw and a heck of a play, and protection was great. I mean, we didn't get sacked all night. It was just it was what it was. I mean, it was a game that we got after them, and we felt like it was a real good step forward for us. And looking into this week, we've got Silver Creek. They're coming off of a 1-0 win. They won 13-7 against Charlestown, who's got the state's basically leading rusher. Coming back this year, and they did a nice job bottling him up. He got loose once, and that was their only score. Their defense is legit. I mean, they play a 3-3 stack defense with some dog overhang backers that, man, they just try to get a lot of pressure to the ball and to the point of mesh. And so their nose guard is a dude. He's actually a transfer from Providence that was on 2 different sectional championship teams. He was an all-state kid. He's a senior, and they moved, so he moved into the district, and that was a nice move. And he's a heck of a player. Their inside Mike is the Landers kid who was a kid that his brother played quarterback and things like that in the past. So comes from a nice tradition of athletes. And then there's Sam linebacker. He's a stump. He's kind of like Porter Howie. He's 5'8", and he's 5'8", 190, I think it says. And so he's just your high school kid. Could play guard, could play linebacker, could play fullback, could play whatever probably. So they've got a lot of team speed, which we feel like most weeks we come out that we're going to have solid team speed, which we feel like could be an advantage. And this week, defensively they look, and offensively, I mean, they have some serious speed. So when you play these guys, you're going to get some athletes out there, and that they're going to play hard, and they're going to play well. And in all honesty, we're sitting at this thing looking at it like we were last week. We owe these dudes. It's been 3 years, and it's been close 2 years, and then last year they smoked us, and it was an embarrassing loss, and it was something that makes a guy question everything that you've ever done. And so we know what's at stake. Our kids understand that your conference goal, not that you speak about that initially, but you've got to win. So you set yourself up right now. You want to know. So you still got a chance.
Right.
You come out of this thing 1-1, you probably don't have a chance. You gotta be. It's conference every week, so you've got to win every week, or you're in trouble. And obviously that's the goal. But our kids this week they've been locked in. We've really put in a few little wrinkles that we feel like is going to give us a good advantage and take advantage of some of their speed and different things that they do. And defensively, they run our same offense. So for our defense, I mean, I asked Blair, I was like, do we need to meet on Saturday? I was like, I get it that they do some different things, but I mean, we've played against our offense all summer, and I promise you that our defense is a nightmare to play against in our offense. So, I think that our kids are going to be as excited as to know that they've practiced all summer against R1s, and they're going to have to go out and play a team that's trying to do basically the same thing we do. They're solid. Fullback's good, runs hard. Their slot backs are dudes. Their receivers can catch. They're speedy. They're not overly big. I mean, they're one kid over 250 on their line. All their backs are 150 to 180. So they're not. It's not like we were looking at last week where they're just massive. So they definitely create issues from some of the skills that they have, and you've got to be sound. And if you're not sound, you're going to get beat. Our kids understand what the task is, and preparation each day this week's going to be vital, and that's with any game. It's any game we play for the rest of the year. I mean, you got to prepare well, or you're going to get your tail whipped.
Coach, you come home at your home opener now. You've been on the road last week. Is there an advantage to be had at the high school level for playing at home? I mean, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you like playing at home, yeah. I mean, but it's awfully nice going somewhere and whipping somebody at their own place too. So, I think that playing at home is, it's 1,000% an experience for our kids that that me as a player, that Luke as a player, as Philip as a player, all of us had that same experience walking down the tunnel and understanding that walking out in front of your community and something that you represent, something that that you've done everything in your power to make as good as it can be. I mean, there's obviously something there that makes it special, but overall, the special piece is to be able to suit up every week. The special piece is to be able to go to battle with your brothers and guys that that you've probably fought more than you have your own brother. Those things is what makes it special. Obviously, we always travel well. We always have good support, and we don't ever have to worry about going over there to an empty stadium, because our crowd they're loyal. We've got great fans and great student section. I mean, I'll tell you, Friday, man, hey, it was on. It was great. You don't see. I tell you, we watched our game, and then I watched the Silver Creek and Charlestown game, and that's a huge game. I mean, there were probably 6,000 people there. I mean, double deep, 4 deep on the track, and they had like some orange, like neon party or something in their stands, and it was just an awesome. I think that's what makes the football experience such a special piece of high school, and I think it's obviously it's special for us as coaches and players, but it also is special for the alumni that come out of the stand, that come down and watch your ball game and sit in the heat. It's special for your community. It's special for your kids in high school, because there's not a lot of things these days that kids can do and normally are all on the same page. Normally when kids have a choice to do things, they're all going to be all over the place. Well, guess what football does? You're all going to be lined up in the same cheer block, and you're all going to be getting loud, jumping around, and having a great time. And no matter if you don't like the guy sitting next to you, it's special. And that's what makes high school athletics good. And it's not just football; it's everything. And I think that if some of our other areas were to get the spotlight that Friday night football gets, or Friday night basketball gets, I think it would be a great experience for all of that. I don't think it's just isolated to football. I think it's something that our kids see how hard people work, and I think that when your kids see how hard people work and they start to have success, it really breeds just a great culture overall. And I think that we have that.
You got you're 1-0. You're taking on Silver Creek at 1-0. I know all coaches, fans can say we played great, we did this great. What concerns you after Friday night? What are the things that you went home and said we got to clean this up this week, or winning's going to be hard next Friday night?
Wow, Man, I don't know. We played well. I mean, we didn't focus on Friday. I mean, I guess if that's the one thing that we came away with was we're 1-0. Okay, it's chalked up. It's done. Like we never pulled the film back up and showed them because they played well. I mean, and so obviously they're going to go watch themselves play well.
Sure.
Kids don't go put the film in when they're getting their butt kicked and watch it. They're going to watch them play well. So I guarantee they watched the film. So we didn't focus on that win. We focused on this week. This is the next piece. This is the next step. You want to break that win plateau that we've been struggling to break. You've got to do these weeks. You've got to win the games that are 50-50 games. And in our conference, you're a North Harrison, a Silver Creek. Those are 50-50 games. You've got to prepare well and you've got to play well. And if you prepare well but you don't play well, or you play well but you didn't prepare well, you're probably going to still get beat. So you got to put the whole package together. And I feel like our kids, they understand. You don't put the film in and watch Silver Creek and think we're going to go down and stroke these guys. They're going to come here and they're just going to. We're going to walk all over them. That that watching the film. So our kids understand that hey, they're good. They're going to be good. We have to have a plan. We have to stay with our plan, and our plan's got to be what we hang our hat on. And we're going to hang our hat on our O-line, like I've always told you, and like it happened when I was here. Your O-line is your team, and your defense better be good. You have a good O-line and good defense, you can probably make some plays.
Well, I'm a big old lineman myself from back in the day, so let's mention a couple of those kids, Coach, because they don't...
Well, I'm not going to mention a couple. I'll mention all of them, okay?
Mention them all.
Yeah, so you got from left to right, Trail Howard's our left tackle. He's 6'3", 6'4", 275. And the left guard is Jake Gray. He's a senior, probably 5'9", 300. Then our center's 6'1", 240, Jackson Walton, a kid who's really, really played well. And we're really excited about him, and he's got his hands full this week, and we've told him, and he fully accepts the challenge, and it's going to be awesome. And then actually I said Jake left, but DJ Gilbert's left. He's our left guard, and he's 6'1", 3 plus, and then Jake's the right, and then Keenan Richardson. He's a defensive guy that is going to be a stud on our defense, and we know that, but he helps our offense be a lot better by having him there. And so he's been a starter for us for the last few weeks here, and he's really gotten a lot better, and he's accepted the fact that we understand that this has got to be important. And why are you there? It's because you're one of our best. We got to put our best out there. And so those guys have 100% accepted the O-lines matter. That is, I mean, they love the fact that they all hang out. They all go together all the time. They are brothers, and that's when you get a group that meshes and a group that can talk and they understand what this guy's thinking because they're best friends. You can really coach those guys up and get a lot better. And so our O-line has played really, really well, and our D-line has played really, really well. And all summer they've hit each other. So guess what's happened? They've gotten a little bit better each day, and that's your ultimate goal. And obviously you want to be 2-0 coming out of this week. But if you're not, you got to go back and look at it and say, did we get better? Did we go backwards, or did we get better? And I think that after this game, we'll know a little more where we stand. I think that they're going to be one of the best defenses we'll see all year. Obviously there's some good ones in our conference, but that's definitely going to be a good one because they're fast and they've got all the pieces. So you're not going to get cheap touchdowns on them, I don't think. We're going to have to drive, and we're going to have to play, and we're going to have to play well. And if we don't, then we know what to expect, and that's your typical week in our conference.
Absolutely. And for those of you who haven't been around high school football in a few years, when you hear Coach say 300-pounder, they don't build 300-pounders like they used to. These are 300-pound athletic kids.
Dudes that run. Yeah. I mean, they're not just sitting on the couch and getting 300 pounds. I mean, they're big kids. They work out. They're not just fat lazy kids. They're not that. I mean, they're just big kids. I mean,
sure, it's a new mode of offensive lineman.
Well, it's just you get, the days of having that left tackle that's 5'8", 150. It's over because you're going to put him across from a 6. You go out west. He's 6'5" and he's 245, and that's the D end. That guy used to be the Mike linebacker. Now he's your D end, and he creates havoc, and you got to be able to match. We know we're going to end up playing out there. There's at least one that we've had to we'll have to have schemed up about, and so you got to put dudes up there. You got to put people. Trail's a basketball player. Keenan's a basketball player. DJ's just a big old football player, and Jake's just a big old football player. And Jackson Walton is just a big football player. And those boys are all 300-pound benchers. They're all 400-pound squatters. They're all what you want. Can't argue with it, and it is what it is. I mean, they're good, and we know they're good. They know they're good, and they play well. And if they don't play well, they know that they're gonna. They know that it matters, because if they don't play well, we don't play well. We ran the ball 45 times, and you don't run the ball 45 times and win 28, whatever, 27, whatever it was. You don't win like that and throw the ball 6 times if your O-line's not good.
That's right.
You're not lining up and running over people. So, we're excited about them. They've got a long way to go. There's still a lot. We'll clean some things up, and we'll make sure that we're ready, because this week these guys defensively aren't North Harrison defensively. They're more like playing ourselves, and we know how bad playing ourselves has been. And so we've prepared, and our kids are watching film. Our kids are ready. We're excited, and no matter what the obstacles are, this team will be. They will be Lions, and that's the way it works.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for coming by tonight. Good luck on Friday for all the fans out there listening. The weather forecast is beautiful, so get out and support these high school kids who have worked hard.
They're shutting down the street at Salem, so it's going to be a big to do there. We did an event with our youth kids, and it was called Lion in the Limelight. So we got them all. We brought over basically all the little guys over that wanted to come. There was like 300 of them. Then another 100 and plus middle school kids. They came over and just basically spent the day for a couple hours prior to our black and gold scrimmage with just our team. There was bounce houses and all kinds of stuff. Well, so all those kids, they'll get a free ticket to the game. They'll get to come in as long as they've got a parent with them that obviously buys a ticket. But the kids will be free. They'll be there. There's going to be the street's going to be set up as a tailgate area. So it's going to be an awesome deal. Our parents have really tried to make sure that the experience is exactly like we talked about. It should be a special experience for everyone, and that's what we're after. So this week, I would say that'll probably start at 5 and probably go to 6:30 or so. I don't really know the exact details of it, but that'll all happen, and then we'll kick off at 7. And about 11 o'clock, 11:30, we'll know how we stood. So.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks again for stopping by. And again, you heard that. Get out there. It's going to be a great atmosphere when the Dragons come to town on Friday night. We're going to transition here. We're going to get Coach Dean Luke Dean in from Eastern. But in the meantime, while we do that, I just want to thank our sponsors, McDonald's, Eddie Gilstrap Boulders, Salem Crossing, View Healthcare, Ace Hardware, Ernstberger Orthodontics, and Baptist Health Floyd. I think Coach Hartsfield saw me eyeballing his McDonald's wrap there, and he got it out of here quickly before I could get to it. Also want to remind you about some programming. Wednesday, tonight after our show, you're going to hear Inside IU with Coach Tom Allen. And then next week, it'll be the regular schedule. You got Purdue coming on at 6 with Coach Brom, and then we'll be at 7. And then again, Inside IU with Coach Tom Allen on Wednesday night. That's the regular Wednesday schedule moving forward. Thursday night here on WSLM, we got the Colts and the Bengals. Pre-game starts at 6 and kickoff at 7. The Colts looking for a new starting quarterback. And then Friday night, of course, we got Salem taking on Silver Creek here at Paul Graves Athletic Field. That kicks off at 7 on 97.9 FM. Go to the game and listen on radio. I always enjoy to do that. Eastern at Clarksville. That game kicks off at 7 as well, and that'll be at WSLMradio.com. And West Washington will travel to Crawford County at 7 p.m. for a kickoff there. That'll be broadcast on 1220 a.m. And then lots of I'll tell you about the weekend coming up as college kicks off. But we got Coach Luke Dean who slid in here. Coach, I know that outcome is not what you wanted. How do you view the game? What did you think about your team for the first time out?
Well, I thought early on we had a lot of opportunities that we didn't take advantage of. We played on their side of the field on offense the whole first quarter and part of the second quarter, and never able to punch it in. And largely, I think that was because we had so many penalties. So just self-inflicted wounded. We had 14 minutes of the night, which is way too many. False starts, play games, and just silly stuff that we could have. Hopefully, it goes away this week because this offense you could cause me better extra. I thought our kids played well. They came out and played really well. I think 3 turnovers in the second quarter, to be honest. Gave them a short field one time. Made a couple big plays. It's hard because 16-0 at halftime. Came out second half. Thought we played well. Moved the ball down. Ended up punting it. Pinned them deep. Got a safety. Or no, actually they went to punt and we got a touchdown. We didn't get the punt off, and we were able to jump on the ball, and it's 16-8. We're feeling pretty good. It was like the third quarter, and we get a couple big plays off. One thing that I think made the difference in the end was they were bringing in fresh bodies that we didn't have. They were bringing some young kids that they had to bring in, some injuries and other things, and those kids came to produce and they had fresh legs, and you could tell they had fresh legs because our kids, they were tired at that point the first game. No matter how much you condition and practice and do all that stuff, it's hard to get in game shape, and we ended up playing 14 kids most of the night, so we had a lot of guys going both ways.
Did you feel like
in your tenure here at Eastern, Coach, that's kind of been you guys have played toe to toe with some really good football teams for 2 quarters and 2.5 quarters, and then eventually football is just one of those games. I always say it's kind of like high school volleyball. Bigger, stronger, faster eventually has success, and in football, deeper is another mix to that. Bigger, stronger, faster, but deeper is an element that when it's hot outside and it's mid-third quarter, and like you said, you're bringing in white uniforms that have kids that haven't even stepped on the field, and you're playing 14 kids. It's just tough. It's a tough ask.
Yeah, it is. And, part of what we got to do is we got to figure out how to get some reserve kids ready. We feel like we had too much of those guys ready at this point. And, some of that's come with experience. Our JV picked up a win last night, so just getting more guys some reps, and we're thin in certain spots. And we're going to have to get some more kids playing some different positions that they normally wouldn't play, just so we have some more depth. Because in this conference with the teams we play, everybody has depth and everybody has a lot of kids. And this is a battle we fought. I think was it 2 years ago? We played 13 kids all season. 9 kids went both ways. And, it wasn't a bad year. I think we were a couple of plays here and there away from winning 5 or 6 games. So. We just got to figure that out. So my biggest concern right now is just fixing the penalties. It's all fixable stuff. Hunter did a great job for his first game. I thought as quarterback. And, last year was his first year of football, so he hadn't really experienced anything like that. And we had several delayed games and things. He was not. There's a lot going on. And, that experience will help him as we move forward. And there was a lot of bright spots with our defense playing really well early. And we just got to find a way to play more consistently and not.
But we're dirty kids. I mean, we're that. Peyton, help Peyton.
But I was proud of our kids. We played hard. And our kids play hard, and we keep getting better. And hopefully we get more game shape this week, and be better against Clarksville.
How tough is it to play those guys the first week out? I mean, they're just one of your biggest rivals, of course. And
I think that's one of the biggest things, because not only is it your first game, we get an adrenaline dump because our kids are jacked. And after that first quarter, you get a big adrenaline dump, and now all of a sudden, not only are you. I think it's always that first game you get that. You're so excited. It's been so long, and you got to find a way through that. But no, it's tough. I mean, and they're a good football team. We knew that going in, but we really felt like we could play with them, and I thought we showed that. We just got to be more consistent on both sides of the ball. And like I said, we've got to find a way not to fade because we're not going to be very consistent. We're not.
Right. Who played well for you, Coach? I know you talked about Hunter had some ups and downs.
Yeah, he did. He had some ups and downs. I think we completed. I think it was 11 for 22. Not bad for a kid who just, first game as a quarterback and playing against a good team. You got to look at their team as a very experienced team. Their secondary is very good. Their linebacker core is very good. They were getting a good pass rush. I thought he did pretty well. Considering. I think Justin Carr played well. He was forced to play both sides of the ball all game. Middle linebacker and tight end, and he had several catches. He made a lot of good tackles. Trevin Miller was forced to play right tackle. Our right tackle kind of Come Thursday, had some issues with his knee and just some swelling, and we didn't want to play it. You know, we kind of left it up to him, and he was, we didn't want to push the issue, so we kept him out. And Trevin hasn't really even been repping right tackle. I mean, he's been doing tight end and middle backer and playing a little fullback. And come Friday, it's like, hey, you're right tackle. So he did a great job stepping in there and playing right tackle and middle backer. He did a great job. I thought Marcus Martin played hard. He stepped in there and ran the ball well when he had to. He's another outside linebacker for us. Thought he played well. So, I mean, I thought we had guys that played well. I thought we had some guys that didn't play like they could. And not being very deep, we can't have that. We kind of talked about that, went over that on film. Like, these are things that we expect you guys to be able to do. You're capable of doing these things, and we need you to do that. Otherwise, we're fighting an uphill battle because we don't have that depth and other guys are relying on. So we got to have them producing and doing the things that they're capable of.
Coach was talking about Trevin Miller. I don't know if I know that kid. He was always Bean. Is he still? Is he still Bean?
Oh yeah, still Bean. Yeah, even on our depth chart, it's Bean. There's no Trevin Miller, but yeah, he did a great job. Doug Lewing, your kid that came out for us this year, didn't play last year, played the year before. And as a senior, the strides he made this summer, he ended up playing both sides of the ball Friday. I thought he did a pretty good job for playing center, and he had someone in his face most of the night, and that's always a tough job. And then he's jumping over and playing deep tackle. So I thought he did a pretty good job. Defensively, I thought we played pretty sound. I didn't think our secondary did too bad of a job. I fell asleep a couple times. One time we gave a pass play, it's 6'3" versus 5'6",
right?
And they just jumped up and got the ball. So I thought overall, we had some kids that really played well. But we definitely have some room for improvement as always. That's the things we focus on this week.
Hey, Coach, I know the Lewins and Dougie's family, and that they're a football family. They're just big Bears fans. And is there a different? Is it easier to coach somebody who just loves? I mean, they've always loved the game.
He was a kid that came, play this year, and we weren't real sure, where he would fit or what he could do, and all of a sudden, boom, he's doing really well. And we go down to camp at Georgetown, Kentucky, and we're going against Edgewood and Gordon, and they're both running odd fronts, which is a guy in his face, and he's playing center. And he did a great job, and it's one of those things where you don't know what to expect out of a kid, especially a kid that hasn't really played at that level, and he's thrown in there, and he did well. And I attribute that partly because of his knowledge of the game, but also he's been in my weights class for 3 years. He's a strong kid, and that really helped. So yeah, I've been impressed with Doug. The things he's done. We had, it was a challenging night for us.
How important is it for you, Coach? You're building the program there at Eastern. Last year's JV was really successful. You're off to a good start at the JV level. But being able to keep some JV kids JV, even though it means on Friday night maybe your numbers are lighter than they would be, but what's the advantage of keeping that JV program kind of intact?
It's important because you've got to get kids reps. And, they got to have the experience, and they got to want to play. They're not going to want to play if they're not getting playing. They're not going to sit there and get practice. I mean, that's understandable. It's hard to do. Right now we have 37 healthy bodies, so we're trying to play 2 teams together. That but our JV kids did a great job last year. They play practice today and they work hard. They play hard, and it's like we're finally starting to get over the culture of being as far as just kids, happy to be around each other and having fun and coming to work, every day and understanding that's important. And you start to see early in the first few years, we would practice drills and do all these things, and we would not see it. It was so frustrating. Now we see it. Like last night at JV, they don't get a lot of reps with that many kids. They just don't. They're doing a lot of scout team stuff, and we try to throw them in some team overs out again, but they're doing a lot of scout stuff. And last night going to the game, I was really unsure what to expect. I knew the defense would be pretty solid just because of the kids we had in certain positions, and they did a great job. And the offense was turned out to be better than I anticipated. You just don't know what kids are going to do when they go out, because they're practicing mostly against older kids, and they're getting, they're going to take them to one big practice, and they got 30 minutes and other kids. So it's important.
It was great. It was like
have that, and our JV kids are pumped all day. He was stuff, and that's important. I was like, dude, that's funny. I had two kids come in today that were that age, and hey, can I play? So it helps. That helps us down the road.
And then the youth program, how's it going for you?
Good. It's going good. I'm actually helping with the third and fourth grade team. I just left practice. Had our practice, and I left that practice early to get here. It's going well. Our numbers are up. This is the most we've had since I've been at Eastern. So we feel like we're going in a positive direction. The little guys are fun, and trying to teach them.
You're right. It's not. Lutherans always.
They don't know. They don't understand yet. You're trying to teach them basic things, and they just want to tackle, which is fine, but they want to tackle everybody, not just the ball. It's like, we can't tackle that guy. He's not carrying the ball. But no, it's fun. It's going well. Hopefully we have success there.
Okay, well, you're 0-1, and you got a game that in recent seasons you've had a lot of success against Clarksville. What's your impressions of them? I know you've had a chance to watch them on film.
Yeah, I mean, they're much improved. From last year to this year, they're two totally different teams. That they've always had a few athletes that you always get concerned about, and I feel like they've got 4 or 5 kids this year that we got to really be concerned about. They got 2 tall receivers that jump up and get the football. Quarterback is very athletic. He throws accurate passes. The running back is back from last year. He's very shifty. They got another running back, one kid. He's very shifty. And the difference between last year and this year, I think the biggest difference is their line play. They actually have a solid line who looks, they look like a unit. And in years past, that's not necessarily been the case. So, we got to have our hands full. They gave Scottsburg everything they wanted, and really should have won that game. When we scored with Scottsburg, and it was tooth and nail with them. So we know we're going to have our hands full. We got to make sure that we play disciplined football, especially on offense. We cannot be giving up the penalties and doing the silly stuff to shoot ourselves in the foot. We also, defensively, just got to win with the big play. That's what they kind of live off of, and making sure we're playing our assignments and staying home. They like to reverse field a lot and do some different things, and you got to stay home. You got to tackle. If we tackle and stay home defensively and do our assignments, I feel pretty good about Friday night. But if we don't, we'll be in trouble because they got some athletes that can run, and they got several. The last couple of years there's only 1 or 2, and now it's like they got 4 or 5 that we got to really be concerned with. And the line's blocking well, and they play hard, and their numbers are up. So it's their home opener, and they're going to be ready to play. So we got to come ready to play Friday, and our kids have to understand that it's not the same team we faced the last couple of years.
How do you get them to do that, Coach? I mean, I know you can show them the Scottsburg film and you say, hey, remember we played Scottsburg tight, and Scottsburg barely beat this team, but still you and I both know in the minds of teenage boys, hey, we've kind of owned this team over the last few years. Yeah. How do you keep that mindset from creeping in?
Well, luckily come Monday, before we even had practice, a couple kids come in, man, Clarksville's better, aren't they? Yeah. So they had already watched on huddle, and I think that's important that they see that and they understand that we had our hands full with Scottsburg, and they just about beat Scottsburg, and really could have beaten them. They had the ball deep in Scottsburg territory. I think they were inside the 10. Maybe it was the 11-yard line, and the quarterback went to throw and just lost the ball, so he fumbled it. And Scottsburg jumped on it 1-8. I mean, and then Scottsburg had to run the clock out. 3 or 4 minutes out the clock. So, they score there, they win the game probably. So, we have to be ready, and the kids, that's the good thing about film and them having that on their phone and with huddle, and they can watch it, and not just at practice, but at home, and they understand that this is a game that's going to be tough, and we've been down there a few years and had a rough go. I mean, we come out victorious, but it wasn't easy.
Right.
So, I feel like it could be another one of those nights where we got to, it's going to be a grinder. We talk to our kids, we may be 2 or 3 negative plays in a row, boom, they make a big play, and that's what they live off of. So we have to understand that it's always next play and be disciplined on defense, and offensively just don't get in our own way. I think if we don't get in our own way, we'll be okay on offense.
Well, and on that, Coach, you're talking about the penalties and the turnovers, and just making sure you eliminate those. And when you have those, and you feel like you played pretty well outside of those mistakes, how anxious are you to get back? You kind of hate to go through practice. You wish you could play.
Yeah, and you get to that point, where it's like you almost get tired of practicing, but you got to keep doing it. But yeah, 14 penalties, that's a lot. I don't know if I've ever had that in a game, period. That's a lot of penalties. So yeah, we got to clean that up. And, a lot of it was just knick-knack stuff like, false starts and delay a game and leaving formation where a receiver wasn't on the line, or, just silly stuff that's just like, what are we doing? Center snap infraction one time. I mean, it's like, we got a 15-yard penalty. One of their kids was holding on to our kid, so he knocked his arm off, and we get a 15-yard. I mean, just stuff like that. It's like, we just got a first down, we're driving, boom, 15 yards. It's like, what are we doing? We can't do that kind of thing. We got to learn. And some of the kids that we had issues with last year with penalties didn't have a problem Friday. So now it's like we got a new batch that we got to get fixed here. So, hopefully we get that straightened out. And I think if we do, offensively, we're going to be in much better shape.
Coach Dean doing a remarkable job down in Eastern. We thank you for stopping by. We wish you good luck Friday night as you travel to Clarksville to take on the Generals. As Coach Hartsfield said, there's not a week off in the Mid-Southern Conference. I don't care what the records are. You better show up to play or you're going to be in trouble. So we wish you luck. Come back next Wednesday with a dub, and we'll keep on moving throughout the season, Coach. I thank you again for adjusting and coming in on Tuesday night to Coach's Corner here at McDonald's. Just want to remind you, I love how, I don't know who did the football schedule, but we start the high school season, and then the next week the college season starts, and then the next week the pro starts. So I just wonder, did anybody do that intentionally, or usually they don't get things that right, but I just love the schedule, and I say that to remind you that Friday night, after football, you got Purdue and Nevada on 12:20 a.m. That game kicks off at 9:30, so if things are going long in Crawford County, you may be joining that game a little bit late or in progress, but tune in, keep listening to the Senators in Crawford County, and then hear how Jeff Brom does in his what's the encore season here at Purdue. Last year he had a nice season. I'm anxious to see Rondale Moore and what he does. I don't think he'll win the Heisman this year. I think he'll be in New York. I do think he'll surprise people and be invited to New York. And then maybe as a junior he'll win that. I think I got a laugh from Coach Bousman as I was talking about. And now, is that because you're an IU guy or what? Is this part of the Purdue IU?
I'm just trying to figure out. Last time Purdue had a guy there, and same as IU. Last AT was the last one we probably had, right? So,
was Breeze not in contention for a Heisman? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. He was good though. He was real good.
Well, that's continuing.
Yeah. He's pretty good. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of him. Even though he's a boiler.
And then also on 97.9 FM after the football games, tune in to Bob Lowe and Indiana Sports Talk. I tell you, that's one of my favorite things to do driving home from a game is to turn on that and hear statewide just all the high school sports going on around the state. And even Bob talks about college too here now that season's about to kick off. I'm sure they'll be talking about a guy named Andrew Luck. I don't know if anybody's heard of him, but that is and will be the remaining topic for the weeks to come. And then Saturday, IU taking on Ball State at 11 a.m. Pre-game gets underway, and then high noon will be kickoff. So tune in at Football Crazy on WSLM. And speaking of Football Crazy, Coach, 1-0. You can't win them all if you don't win the first one.
No, and it was crazy. But we want to know, and we're happy with that. And we got some adjustments to make, but we're setting where want to be. Just take one week at a time.
So you talked about it was crazy. You get off to a little bit of a slow start there. What led to that? I mean, I know you guys were anxious to get out of the gate and then to get out and not get off to the kind of start you were wanting to.
Well, it was one of those deals. I told the kids yesterday, I said, sometimes I got to take my own advice. In the pregame, I talked to them and I told them this game's it's going to be a marathon. And really every game needs to be, we need to approach it that way. It's not going to be a sprint. It's not going to happen in just a few plays. Last year, we were fortunate to get off to a great start and get up 16-0 or 14-0, a couple of scores in just a couple of minutes. And you got to give Eastern a lot of credit. You go back and watch film and you see how their ends played us, and you see some things that they did that definitely were, them scouting us and how they wanted to play us, and give them a lot of credit. And I told the kids, I said, I felt like, our focus wasn't awesome throughout the first quarter of the game, first couple of possessions, but at the same time, I don't think I handled it as well as I should have. And, it was third down on our own 35 to 40, 38, 39 yard line on fourth down, and I went for it, and we didn't get it. And again, that give Eastern a lot of credit. And I should have listened to my own advice. We should have punted the ball away. We should have played football and just let the game happen and slowly, take control that we wanted to. And I felt like with the success and the things they were doing well, I was playing into their hands and putting our guys in bad positions. But we got a lot of dudes on our team that I felt like really stepped up. We got a lot of adversity in the first half, a little bit more in the second half. But at any rate, our guys really rose to the challenge. I still, I told those guys, Eastern did a great job and gave us a lot of resistance, and I didn't think we responded very well. And that's a little bit of my fault, a little bit of them. We both need to take ownership from it, and we all learn from it and move on.
Just talking about that, Coach, maybe not the start you wanted, Eastern doing some things right. It's just Coach Dean and I were talking, these are the mind of 16, 17, 18-year-old boys. You're 11 in one lifetime against Eastern. Yeah. It's hard to convince kids, hey, we're in for a war. Right. No matter how many times you say it, no matter what you show them on video, it's hard. And I've been around it enough to hear the conversations outside the football field that know that it's hard to get kids to do that.
It is, and like I say, I felt like we really responded. And sometimes as a coach, you wanna think that in 2 plays you're gonna put one in the end zone, you're gonna kick off and stop them in 3, get the ball back, and be right back in 2. And in reality, it's just not going to be like that. Sometimes it is, and you're fortunate. But I told our guys at half, I was like, we're going to get every team's best shot every Friday night. And no matter how hard we scout a team and prepare, we're probably going to get something that we haven't seen on film. And it's a game of adjustments. And that's on me, and that's something that we're going to continue to stress and work on. I'm going to try to do a better job myself as a coach and as a staff that when teams have done things to us that it may take a little bit, and we just got to be patient. And we were down 4 guys to start the second half, and unfortunately lost Caleb midway through the 4th. But down 4 guys to start the second half, and when you play 1A football, when you lose 4 starters, one of them being an all-state kid that's your leading rusher, and your backup running back goes out halfway through the second half, your center goes out to start the 3rd quarter, you got a senior linebacker that goes out. Man, our guys were awesome Friday night. To think that, we ended up winning 38-8, and those 8 points are all 100% on me. We got in a position back in our own end zone that I had 4 guys that I was replacing on the punt team. If I'm 100% with my punt team, no replacements, we may punt it. I should have taken the safety. I talked to Holden. If it's a bad snap, just take it. Let's take the safety. But I should have just taken the safety. So our defense was great all night long. Defense didn't give up a point. And that's really why we were trying to punt it, because I felt like they could, make a stand. But at the same time, we had our backs against the wall. We should have done something different. And what's a lesson learned is coaches learn just as much in a game as players do.
Sure, and like you said, it's a game of adjustments. That's why you got coaches on the box, coaches on the sideline. Right. Everybody, if you're like me, my problem when I coach was I watched the football. Somebody would say, hey, watch that left guard, and what do you do there? I don't know. I was watching the ball. So it takes a while to make those adjustments. Talk a little bit about the injury bug, as much as you can anyway. Who was hurt, and what's their prognosis here moving forward?
Well, again, first quarter, Eastern, great job at 0-0, and second quarter, Bobby has a big run, running a power, bounces it down the sideline, and the field, I felt like from about the hashes to the numbers out was really soft, and Bobby, I think, just kind of when he planted and as he took the hit, just a combination of it, his foot sunk in the ground. I broke my leg in my sophomore year, and it's the same deal. It was really wet that night, and when I got hit, my foot was sunk in the ground and broke both bones in the lower leg. And Bobby's was kind of the same way. When he planted, you're just in his stride. Good, clean hit. It's something one of my coaches on the box said, hey, make sure you get the guys together before we get going again, as I was, dealing with Bobby, and said, let our guys know there was nothing dirty. It's a game of football, and it was a freak accident, and make sure that they know that it was nothing, intentional. It just happened. but his foot happened to sink in the ground as he took a hit to the thigh, and it dislocated his ankle, and in the midst of dislocating, then it broke the fibula. So, you know, what was crazy, I watched it on film later, during the game, I'm about 20 or 30 yards back, opposite sideline. I look, see him running, kind of tell him, hold him, let's go, because I felt like at that point then it was like Bobby was just starting to go. It was like 5 carries for 54 yards or something. And I felt like, okay, that was our play. Let's go. Here we go. Let's start moving some stuff and get the ball in the end zone. And then I could kind of see my guys reacting. I had a couple of players really motion for me. And initially they thought and told me that his ankle was out, thinking that it came through the skin. So as I got over to him, I didn't see anything. Told him, I was like, "Is it out? Did you tell the guys it was out, or did they see it?" He's like, "It feels like it's out." Well, when it dislocated, it put a lot of pressure on his leg or on the skin there, like it was coming through. But they got it stabilized, loaded him, took him to Floyd that evening, put him under to reset it, and Saturday morning went back in and did surgery. A couple of screws in a plate, pretty well shredded his tendons. They went in, sewed those, and then he's probably 3 or 4 months recovery, but everything's lined up. Broke his fibula, and it was kind of, I saw the X-ray right after the game. They sent it to us, and it almost looks like it fractured a piece off, but they were able to go in Saturday morning, really clean and put it back together and do the things they need to do. So we're hoping in about 4 months he'll be able to get back to his conditioning, training, rehab, and he'll be back next season.
He's got a PhD, poor, hungry, and determined.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Yeah, so it's just very unfortunate for him, but I'm pretty blessed with the skill level that I have on this team, the talent that we have to respond the way that we did. Essentially, what happens now is your security blanket's gone,
Right.
And you have other guys, and maybe it makes us more versatile. Maybe it makes us better coaches. I don't know. Sometimes when you have a guy that's rushed for almost 2,400 yards, when it's critical, that's who you go to. Now when it's critical, you choose 3 or 4 different guys to go to. So we're going to be okay. Our dreams, goals, all of our goals are exactly the same. They can all be accomplished. We definitely have the depth to reach everything we want to do.
And you mentioned Caleb injured in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Any news on his injury?
He's gonna have surgery tomorrow. Broke it in the same place. Unfortunate. Again, it was a freak thing. He didn't hit anybody. Didn't get hit. Going for a loose ball, shoulder drove into the ground as he went to the ball, and it cracked it in the same spot. So he's gonna have surgery. Gonna put a plate, a couple screws in. Next time he suits up, going to be Memorial State Indiana University. It stinks for us, stinks for him. But at any rate, the young man gets to play football again. He's going to be very successful. And, it does stink because high school football and athletics is pretty special. But, in the big picture of things, everything's going to be okay. And he understands that and knows that. But he's going to recover fine and be okay.
Yeah, and those who are listening, keep both of those boys and their families in your prayers. They put in a lot of work between last season and this season, and to kind of have it out of your hands now, I know that's hard. I wanted to ask about Bobby's future, about playing football. I'm glad you answered that because selfishly, we all want to see him out there with the rock in his hands again, running the football. Coach, were those the only 2 injuries, or?
Well, Mason Armstrong got a concussion. He's about midway through the second. He ran the ball and had a fumble, and he got out. He was like, something's just not right. And that's at that point I said, "You're done. I don't know what's wrong." But I knew something like a concussion probably is what was going on, but I didn't know. And I said, "You're done." It's about halfway through the second, and we'll evaluate at halftime, see if that's what it is. And he passed the concussion protocol. Today he took the day off Monday from school and everything, and came in today, and I think he's going to be fine and could be released this week. If he's released, we're still not going to play him Friday.
Sure.
We're going to hold him out until next week, regardless of what the prognosis is. But basically a concussion, so we were without him. And then last play of the game, had a couple guys made some bad decisions and didn't get to play the second half, and they're not going to get to play this week, and they're going to sit. So we're going to go into this week without 5 starters, but that's okay. So I had somebody ask me, what are you going to do this week? Like, hey, we've got a whole week to prepare this time. Friday night we had 15 minutes, so it's okay. And our guys practiced yesterday, meeting with the guys. We just have a bunch of great guys that are competitors, that are willing to step up, and now things just get distributed amongst other guys. So we're pretty excited.
Yeah, you talked last week about the depth in your program, and hey, next man up. I mean, you hate the injuries, but somebody else has got to step out there and. Hey, you may not be Caleb Murphy and you may not be Bobby Stevens, but hey, you're still out there to play.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing is, you don't train and prepare your team because for 1 or 2 guys, you prepare them for your entire team. And if you're preparing just for a couple guys, then we're in the wrong business as coaches.
Sure.
And we're not doing a very good job. So we definitely have some explosive players. We threw for nearly 250 yards the other night, a couple of receivers for almost 100 yards apiece. So we've got all the tools. We've got a great freshman running back with Roper and Peters. And then Mason will be back the following week. Armstrong, Hunter Payne will be back the following week. He's played running back for us. So we definitely have the depth. And some might say I'm spoiled and blessed, but I definitely am with the talent that we have, with our play. So we're excited for week 2 and beyond.
It just shows you that you got to prepare, right, Coach? I'm sure Roper is thinking, oh man, I'm going to play a lot of JV and I'm going to get to carry the ball a lot. And here it is, week 2. Guess what? Guess who's starting in the Senator backfield?
Right, and when he's playing, I know as I watch him and our juniors and seniors see him in practice, and even then they're like, Coach, did you see that run? Coach, did you see that cut? And they realize it's in practice, but he's only going to get better with each play that he carries the football and performs. And the other night I told him first possession, Holden's going to start safety, be ready, you're going to roll in there second possession. Ended up Holden played the whole first half, and then it ended up he played the whole game at safety. And Roper played some linebacker and then started carrying the ball the second half. So this week Roper needs to focus on offense, and we may sprinkle him in on defense if we would need him. He's a great special teams player for us, had some big plays, but it's in his blood, and hard-nosed kid with a lot of skill and talent, and he's got a great group of guys with leadership around him, and he's definitely going to be able to pick up the load. And so maybe we don't have a guy go for 2,400 yards, but we have 4 guys that total 2,400, 2,500 yards.
Sure.
And I think that's where maybe that makes us a little better.
Yeah, Friday night, Crawford County. Last year, if memory serves, it was one of those games where you just kind of, it looked like you were ready to take off at any point, but it just never really happened. And kind of a lot like last week, where it just stalled out a few times. What have you seen about Crawford County as you prepare to face them Friday?
Well, that was the thing last year. We were kind of young, and we just never, we would get out on teams, and then we just hung around and never got over the hump and finished them. We hope this year to kind of change that. And with Crawford, they have about 26 kids out. They're pretty. They try to keep it pretty simple offensively, and I think that has to do with the numbers and the number of guys that get there in the summer, because you put so much stuff in during the summer. But they're going to play hard. They've always played us tough. I mean, I keep reverting back to 2015 with our guys. We went 11-0. And won a sectional and got beaten regional by Linton that year for our only loss, and we were only at 14-0 in Crawford County attack. So that's, again, it's one of those games that just be patient. You're going to get the team's best shot. You may not play well when you get their best shot. So, there's things they've done with us or against us that, whether that's us overlooking, I'm not sure, but at any rate, it's a game that we have to come out and be patient and execute and not overlook them.
And rarely does a team remember how much you won by. You just remember that you won the game that year in your season. So, and you're not playing for points to get into a bowl system. So hey, just go out there and win the game. That's the most important thing.
It really is. And sometimes our ego gets in the way. You want to beat a team 50 points.
Right.
And that solely has to do with ego. And sometimes as coaches or myself, that's our fault. and we got to convince our kids it's about winning the game. Sometimes it's ugly. You're not going to be perfect. So whatever it takes to win each night and to perform at the level to get that W, is what we have to do. So, this is my 21st year overall, 13th as a head coach, and we're still learning ways to make our teams better.
Absolutely, and you mentioned earlier that coaches still need to learn and grow also, and that's one thing I think people don't realize, that you are not the coach today that you were 13 years ago. You've improved, and if you coach for another 13 years, you're going to be even better then. So it's just players, coaches, officials. It's all a learning process, and everybody wants to go out the next game and get better than they were the last time they stepped on the field.
Yeah, if you're not looking to get better, then you probably need to hang it up. And if you think that you don't have room to get better, you probably need to hang it up. So we definitely know we can get better. There's lots of things. Friday night, you take the punt block. I mean, our defense played great. And, give Eastern all the credit in the world. I thought they played well. They did things and made adjustments to what we did. But, they blocked our punt. But I felt really bad afterwards. I was like, I could have quick punt on third down and got out of there. I could have taken a safety, and made it 38-2. There's things that I could have done better as a coach, and those are definitely things that I'm looking at and thinking, okay, next time in this situation, how am I going to handle it differently? So, that's just part of it, and we have to be able to admit as a coach whenever we don't do things, 100% the best way for our team. And there's things that I felt like that I let our guys down on Friday night as well, even though in the first half I didn't feel like it. But now the game going, and I look back, I think, man, I could have done some things a lot better to calm my team, because our guys have some pressure, from a standpoint of there's an expectation. Last year it was you're young, whatever you do is going to be great. This year it's you got everybody back. What are you going to do now? And that's on me. That's up to me to relieve that from our guys. And sometimes they bail me out, but we're going to do a better job of that. But I'm super proud of our guys because we had a lot of adversity and guys stepped up and really executed and performed at a high level.
I'll get you out of here on this one, Coach. With you and Holden, and you talked about, I bet driving home from the game, you're going through your mind about, do you have a no buffer zone where you two are not allowed to talk about football? Because the other kids get to go home and they don't have to listen to Coach all the time. But Holden kind of.
I try to a lot, and he's a pretty smart player from a standpoint of knowing things, and he knows what I'm thinking, and I try to give that downtime. We watch film, and I try to, just let him watch it without me trying to coach him. And, there's a time period where I really try hard to let him watch the game as if another kid is at home watching the game with their parents instead of me sitting there as his coach, and I do. I'll point some things out, and we'll talk about some things, but I really try to make a point to not constantly be coaching 100% of our time, because that eventually he's going to not enjoy it, because he's not. I tell our guys before games, you're not going to be perfect. I understand that. I want you to know that and know that I realize that, and I want him to know that as a player, whether I'm his coach or his dad, that he's not going to be perfect. So I don't want to just constantly point out what he's not doing right. I'm pretty blessed to have him as a quarterback and to do the things that he can do. But at any rate, I try to let him enjoy it without me constantly coaching him. There's been times in coaches meeting I say, hey, here's some things we need to do, because I coach quarterbacks now, and I tell our other coaches, Keith Nance is my offensive coordinator, does a great job. I'm like, hey, here's some things that we probably ought to do with Holden, but it needs to come from you and not me. And we try to distribute that a little bit, so it's not constantly coming from me. And he receives it well. He's done a great job of coaching in basketball too. But at any rate, it's important to me to try to step away at times and let some of my other coaches coach him up, so it's not constantly coming from me.
Sure, and speaking of Coach Nance, Keith Nance had surgery here this
did.
Past week, so
He's at practice tonight.
Oh man, Iron Man football. Lose your, I guess I can say, gallbladder, and then be in football practice.
That's right.
That's a tough surgery. I had it myself, so for Coach to be out there, tell him don't do anything silly though and overdo it, because then he'll miss.
I mean, it's crazy. So Bobby gets hurt, Murphy gets hurt, Mason gets a concussion. Keith had gallbladder surgery Monday. Logan Walker's not feeling well, has some things going on with his health, and it's like we're falling apart, guys. But at any rate, pray for those guys and pray for recoveries, and whether it's coaches and players. But at any rate, yeah, Keith was there tonight, and he was supposed to be on the Gator a little bit more coaching, but he was outstanding and moving around and running the clock for junior high game tonight. So, hopefully coaches and all will all be 100% soon.
So if you're going out to Art Sanders Field Friday night, get a soft drink. Go ahead and buy the concession stand because something may be in the water, just in case.
Get a soft drink.
Support the athletic program, buy a soft drink and some snacks there. Just like we talked about with RJ, the atmosphere out at West Washington is one of my favorites. I've covered high school football for the last 2 decades, and there's a few special places, and driving through those cornfields on a Friday night and seeing those lights come out of nowhere, it makes the hair on my arm stand up when I'm coming out to watch it. So, and the steak sandwiches aren't bad either. So,
actually, I started those today. Those are marinating right now. I started those about noon today, so they'll be ready by Friday.
Kickoff at 7. Coach, we wish you good luck. Thanks for stopping by and adjusting your schedule. Like I said, if you're out at McDonald's on Wednesday night looking for the coaches, we're a day ahead of you. You've gone into the future on us. So we'll be back here at 7 next Wednesday to talk about the Crawford County Eastern Clarksville game, and then Salem and Silver Creek. I think that'll be 3 dandies. Get out there. The weather's going to be nice, and support these local teams. And again, I want to thank our sponsors before we get off the air: McDonald's, Eddie Gilstrap Motors, Salem Crossing, Meadowview Healthcare, Ace Hardware, Ernstberger Orthodontics, and Baptist Floyd Health. So make sure you support those sponsors. They're the reason we're able to do this, and look forward to talking to you next week. Have a good one.